massive minus armor hero for them. And I mean, considering you've got a flak cannon to be able to buff you up, I feel like Monet has the potential to really rip apart a lot of these heroes in the early stages of the game, especially considering he will have a fairly tanky Bristleback, a fairly tanky Dragon Knight, even the Enchantress to a lesser extent, who are able to play a little bit more on the front lines, take attention away from him. So I think the key thing is for Team Zero, how are you able to actually initiate onto Monet rather than just running straight at G2.iG?
Yeah, Clockwork, that's on you, I think. The big hook shot's pretty necessary here. Yeah, I mean, just your point there, thinking about how we're entering team fights later on in the game, right? I think lane's super important for Team Zero. G2.iG, much better backup plans and safety nets, I think, for their draft to flourish. But entering fights, this game has a pretty severe lack of stuns. We've got Tiny to go in with a combo. We've got a hookshot to start off fights. On the G2.iG side, we've got Dragon Knight with his dragon tail and like a bushwhack. Catching people and killing them has got to be very quickly done, because extended fights with no stuns can just, end up in chaos.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they don't exactly on either side have a ton of burst damage either. Like, it's mostly around the Tiny on Team Zero, and of course he can be buffed up by the Decrep as well to really be able to just blow someone up inside that Avatos combo with the crash landing. And it's a lot more around Bobica with his Hoodwink on G2.iG's side, right? Like, he's going to be just looking to play around the mid lane. So I'm really feeling like you've got pretty similar sorts of strategies, at least in terms of who's going to be moving at what time, right? Like, Tiny, Clockwork, Pugna, they need to move around together. Clockwork finding the first initiation into the Tiny damage coming through, and it's going to be probably a little bit reversed for that. It's going to be DK trying to, find the initiation, and then with the Hoodwink coming in off the back of that. But it's a really interesting thing to see, like, who's just going to be able to execute a very, very similar sort of draft better, because they're both going to be working on pretty similar things, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of why I feel like Team Zero here, being the underdogs, potentially being the lesser of the two teams, needs to come out of the laning stage with a bit of a grip on the map, a bit of a grip on the game. And this Clockwork in particular, you can't just be the fodder for the troll in lane. You can't just feed and die to protect your troll. I think you need some serious experience to get up to level 6 as quickly as you possibly can, and then wisdom runes. I think Team Zero, if they lose their wisdom rune, if they get duped by Baboka or someone like that, yeah, this could be trouble for them. I've seen how Baboka likes to go in and steal stuff. And who is that with the chat? Is Baboka dropping all the chat wheel lines? He's a connoisseur.
I can't wait for the new chat wheels, man.
JT.
We need the new memes to be able to come through. I feel like there's going to be a brother going to be coming through with this one this time around.
Hey now. That's in my little notepad of potential ones. We'll see what comes. Off we go. Here we are. Start the game off. 5-man smoke for Team Zero. And G2.iG, they're going to leave the base naturally. Holding a smoke on the Enchantress could go for a late one here as they move into their own Ancients for now.
So JT's already leveled up the Quill Spray, so obviously very conscious of just getting into that level 3 or so for himself. I'm really going to be looking towards the early-ish game, right? Hold on, do we see a Vanguard that he's looking to purchase up here, Gary? The first one that we're seeing as an actual, this is for the Vanguard build? I think it might be. Because that's going to be his role in the game, right? He just wants to get that Bristleback leveled up. He wants to get the Nasal Goo leveled up so that he can get that Snot Rocket facet popping off. He just wants to be able to turn around, start the team fight, get them to go on him. And they do have a decent amount of, unavoidable damage coming through, right? With the Tiny, with the Brew. Eventually you're going to be building into stuff like the Radiance. Clockwork has a decent amount of AoE stuff as well. So that some of that minus armor could really start to stack up quite quickly as...
With a flat cannon over the top as well, yeah.
Yeah. ZZQ needs to be very careful about where exactly he's positioning himself. I'm liking the fact that he's just staying active. He's a lot of focus coming through from these Team Zero boys.
Yeah, making sure they're on the ball. Going for that bottom bounty rune. Does pick it up. And Bristleback taking a fair amount of damage here from the Troll and Pugna. Nothing to say, though, into the back onto Pon Low. Down goes JT for first blood, though. And Enchantress with the blood grenade chucks it at the Pugna as Pon Low's Pugna trying to get away from the breathe fire and the right clicks. Not going to happen, though, as Baboka's going to come in to help secure that trade kill. But a decent start there for Team Zero, getting themselves first blood and 3 bounty runes as well. ZZQ Beyond and Beyond. Yeah, the Brewmaster getting a couple.
Very nicely done. You just see how squishy the Bristleback is early on, right? It's always been kind of his issue. You know, that first level or two is always going to be a little bit of danger for him, as once again we just see a little bit more of this this clockwork action in the bottom lane. ZZQ is just constantly using the power cogs off cooldown. And we saw it as, I'm just going to throw a bit of a Western Europe meme out here, but Thompson, everything comes back to Thompson at the end of the day. How were they able to beat stuff like a Bristleback and all these other heroes that need mana? Well, he used a diffuser blade on his gyro. Clockwork, kind of a similar sort of thing, right? And now you're able to guarantee that it's popping off. So how is JT actually going to be able to get last hits in this lane if ZZQ's on point with some of these cogs? He's missed a few though, so certainly not making the absolute most out of this lane thus far.
He's trying though. He's keeping JT on his toes, that's for sure. Cogging up, punching them around, sending all these projectiles at him. Baboka, his job really just to try and chip away at the Troll Warlord from the tree line as often as possible. Stay out of the way of the clockwork. But there we go again with ZZQ. Just cogging it up.
Yes.
Missing a couple. I mean, it's kind of difficult to find that angle when you're the one kind of stuck inside and you've got to maneuver yourself around. Try and
especially early
line.
on, pre-boots as well is a bit of an issue, right? Like, it only lasts for, I think, 5 seconds, level 1, so that's always going to provide a little bit of an issue for ZZQ, but I think I've only seen him hit 1 out of 6 attempts so far, so I'm sure he would be wanting at least a little better than that.
Warm up. He's missing all those early free throws. He'll get them on later on.
He's the Shaquille O'Neal of Dota.
Yeah. It's still crazy to see some of these like innate ones. Oh, it's fine.
Sorry. Then the chat wheel, Bobica knows.
Yeah,
it's such a key part of this lane. Like, it might seem something just like a little clowny, but it actually is so influential to stopping this Bristleback from farming. And we know that, again, you're going to be wanting to make some rotation with Bobica. You can't let this this Bottle Tiny look to pick up a few of these, even water runes, right? He's going to be wanting to try and harass with the avalanche to be able to stop Nothing to Save from, getting these last hits, securing the denies, delaying that level 6 on the DK as much as possible.
Baboka just going to step up and keep the hits in onto YSR. What have you spotted?
I mean, the base damage on DK is kind of nuts, right? Like, he's got 83 damage to a Tiny's 75. And then you've also got minus 30% damage coming back the other way.
What's Treant's base damage? Okay, it's getting close, huh?
It's getting pretty damn
Treant is
close.
like 85 or something? No, it's not. It must be 90.
Yeah. 90 average, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty wild.
Damn.
Just have a base damage close to a Treant who's thumping away at people. Well, up in top lane, we've not seen too much happen up here until Ponlo has overstepped and overstayed his welcome. Tried to contest the small camp pull. Deep-Crab will delay his death.
Just a little, though.
And Beyond with a blood grenade on him. Another rocket barrage coming. Is this the Brewmaster dying as well? Oh, he's going to get under tower with a creep wave protecting him from the rocket barrage. Monet not wanting to overstep himself.
He's got a salve as well, and he is going for that urn. Right, okay, so I don't hate this too much, right? Just because I feel like you are going to be able to get that little bit more active. You're going to be looking to play around that level 6. You're going to be hoping for the level 6 power rune to be, sorry, the minute 6 power rune to be up top, so that 70 has the potential to rotate to your lane. You start getting a few more of those urn charges, and you've got more guaranteed harass, I suppose you could call it, for the via the urn, just to be able to try and keep the gyrocopter out of the lane as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was calling for yesterday, or a couple of days ago. I'm not a massive fan of just, cookie cutter Radiance every game on a Brewmaster. Yep. Yeah, okay, it can feel good. And it's going to be game specific when you go for this urn or vessel, but I think it's a good idea here to shift. It's down at bottom in the cogs, JT rooted and trapped inside. Does pop a pretty hefty stick, but the damage just keeps on coming, and now Baboka getting rooted up as well. Troll going to go in with the hits as the body block's not quite good enough from ZZQ.
Oh.
A good bushwhack will allow Baboka to escape.
But even just the smallest of things, right? Like, finally they're able to get a couple of mana burns, and they land the cogs as well, right? So it just means that, again, JT, very, very squishy early on. We might have gone away from that Vanguard build, though. Just looking to help out his mana situation a little bit. For sure, against this annoying Clockwork.
And how much value does a casual Ring of Health have nowadays? It used to be like, oh, I can go Vanguard, I can go Hood, I can go this or that.
I guess as a Bristle, it's still kind of okay, right? Just because it is going to allow you to farm a little bit easier. Even if you're completely out of mana, right? You're going to be able to rely on some of those Bristleback procs to be able to, stack up a few of these Ancients, pick up farm in that sort of way.
Well, the stacking begins. Baboka will start it off. And 6 minutes in.
6-man mid.
We do not.
It's close.
A couple of heroes wandering in. A little bit too late, though, as X-Nova grabs up the Amplified Damage Rune with a Catapult Wave.
Tower,
and
man.
the Dragon Knight here. The tower is just melting to the damage over time from G2.iG. Toss around the Wild Wing. Can't kill off the Enchantress Courier. Now, Tiny was having a good time the first 2 or 3 minutes, but then DK gets the levels up, no longer being harassed, now out trading everyone, gets a 6.5-minute tier 1 tower. Where does Tiny go? Like, he's gonna have to sit here and play mid? Can't really rotate and roam around yet.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part. Like, it is a 800 net worth lead right now for this DK versus the Tiny.
Monet's just 1v2ing up on top. Ponlo and Beyond are like, can we step up on this Gyro? We've seen the Enchantress. No, you cannot step up onto Monet. He just stands there, flaks you, zones you away. As, Clockwork, this is good. A big victory here to steal the Wisdom Rune, get the double. Ponlo gets the other one on the opposing side of the map, and this is super important to unlock the power of your Clockwork. You need this hook shot to start your fights.
Oh, for sure. Even just getting the additional levels for the mana burn. He doesn't have 1 point in the Rocket Flare, and once again, they're not going to be able to stop the... Maybe they are, actually. The initiation onto Beyond.
Yes. Put away.
Erica, nice rotation. Look at that.
Down under the tower, and Monet, chased out by the Troll Warlord. X-Nova may be able to hold him back. Ranged axe is coming up shortly as Beyond and Ponlo charging forward. The Cinder Brew and the damage from the Pugna gets a double kill for Ponlo. And now X-Nova trapped inside his cogs as ZZQ has made his way over. Big rotations, big moves here from Team Zero, getting some pretty hefty kills and a Centaur to boot.
Yeah, you also rotated on is making the big rotation through Erica, coming through clutch, because that was the big thing that I thought was lacking in this top lane for Team Zero, right? They just don't have a stun to be able to stop people from running at you, and maybe they even realized that and they said, hey, well, we know what they're going to do. They're going to be a little predictable. Why not just bait it out a little bit, and then we can make this rotation happen. The downside, of course, is that a team like G2.iG aren't going to let you get away with something like that for free. Even though they did lose a few of these heroes in the fight, and you lose the tower, you get one in exchange as well, with nothing to say, rotating down bottom. Already level 8, already a full 1,000 net worth ahead of his opposing Tiny. He should be feeling very happy with the situation.
Yeah, and I think that is the elephant in the room right now. We talked about how well 70 has played on this Tiny in previous games, how good it's looked, and potential here in this game to just blow up an Enchantress or a Hoodwink. But starting to, see how the cores on G2.iG are scaling and building already. Bristleback, Dragon Knight, innately tanky, but we're going for Vanguard, Mage Slayer. This Gyrocopter, picking up a Falcon Blade and a Wand, still holding a Healing Lotus, is also pretty tanky with an Enchantress by his side. Tiny might struggle to find pickoffs, and he's kind of already a little behind. When this Blink Dagger comes up, do you think he's going to have much success?
I think so, again, as long as he finds the right target to be able to go on, because the one hero that is really struggling on G2.iG, ironically, is Monet, right? Like, he is below pretty much everyone at the moment in time, and he's still looking to go into that damage dealing build that we were talking about. You are going to have a huge amount of damage this game just off the back of the other heroes being able to set up for you. As shot missed.
Boca too slippery. Still going to get Avalanche tossed, though, looks like, inside the cogs and down to ZZQ. X-Nova's being eyed up as well by Beyond. The Brewmaster slips in from the staircase off to the left. A Hurricane pushes X-Nova to high ground, trying to slip away, but the toss and a crash landing there to secure the kill. Some good moves again.
I think nothing to say should be able to get away. Hookshot still level 1, obviously, so 30-second cooldown. Thought they might be considering.
They're trying.
Mind. Another good rotation, actually, from Erica.
And the body blocks are there. He put down the Seeds of Serenity to try and heal up, but now he's trapped inside the cogs. I mean, that's what, 3 in a row for Team Zero as they swing into mid, come down to the bottom rune, kill the DK off. I think nothing to say his game plan there, I think, just to drag attention away from his tower. And you can even see a neutral creep on the map. It just died, but Enchantress dragged that mid wave even further away, so the push mid cannot happen. Or it couldn't happen until now.
Yeah, the siege creep wave is still alive, though. That's the big thing. And Ponlo is still alive, so he's just going to be spamming out that Nether Blast from the tree line. Should be a fairly safe one for them. They, of course, want to try and keep this as long as possible, but Team Zero aren't going to enable them to. I'm liking the little things coming out from both teams, honestly. Like when they went for that Avatos combination onto the... Oh god, who was it? I think it was the Hoodwink at the time. They tossed to ZZQ inside of his cogs, and he made sure to just walk towards the internal wall of his cogs, just to get that additional pushback, that additional little bit of stun. Just the tiny things that they're doing, even when they were going for that retreat on Nothing to Say. It was it Bobica? No, it was JT with his trusty shovel. He had shoveled up a kobold creep, and he was there at the power rune spot at the 10-minute mark to try and deny it, because they knew that they weren't in a position to be able to take it themselves. So
clever.
Little things that both teams are doing quite well.
Well, off the back of this now, Tiny with 11.5-minute blink on top of Treads has more than recovered out of that laning phase where he was a bit behind the DK, and what, a 2,000 or 3,000 net worth lead for Team Zero emerging. If they can keep up this pace and get a couple more kills in a row, get this Tiny unlocked, and more importantly, this is all noise and chaos on the map to protect your troll. It is defense through aggression. YSR is here, pressing forward on a tier 1 tower, saying, hey, look at me, I'm a troll, I'm a juicy target, but he is surrounded by allies. If G2.iG want to come down, defend, and maybe fight, they've got to bring everyone. There's no way you can come in piecemeal to this, and I think, who was that? X-Nova kind of TP'd down bottom, was like, nah, never mind. I don't want to be here. Is walking all the way back through mid.
Yeah. Ends up just walking up into the wave, though, on 7E. So they know now that the Blink Dagger is available, but you've got a shield rune Tiny. They just don't want to fight into this at all. And I'm honestly a little surprised that this ZZQ rune that X-Nova and JT are farming under has been able to survive. That sentry ward was placed after the fact. So it's a little bit of a misplay that they weren't able to get rid of it. And because of that, they're going to be able to find Nothing to Say on his own, knowing that the boys aren't there to back him up.
Yeah, good catch. Nice bit of money there for Ponlo as well, who gets the last touch on it. And immediately kicking into next gear as well. This Brewmaster has the split and 2 Spirit Vessel charges. Would love to have his supports come up top and maybe have a poke at one of these heroes which are lurking in the shadows trying to farm the jungle camps. It seems like G2.iG, after a decent laning stage, things break down, Team Zero get an advantage, but coming back to what we said in the draft, the safety net is still there for them. They're farming in these deeper parts of the map, taking Ancients with, X-Nova farming kind of greedily himself, Bristleback. Man, there's Bristleback and Brewmaster and all sorts of stuff in this.
All the bees.
All the bees. But yeah, they're finding space on the map still, so this net worth lead, it could have accelerated very quickly for Team Zero, but it's being held around 2 or 3k.
Yeah. I'm sure Team Zero were hoping to get a little bit more out of this top side of the map, but they're going to be happy enough to be able to have the glyph popped for themselves. So they can look to make a few of these rotations around the map, especially if they're able to get in onto JT as he's looking to try and take this Ancient stack. That'd slow down his Aghanim Scepter so much.
All the hookshot misses. They've still got the Avalanche toss into the cogs, though. JT trying to stand here and spam the quill sprays as much as he can with a 2-man bushwhack and the damage in from that sharpshooter. They've taken down Beyond, no split, and 7E's in trouble as well. They bring the numbers here, G2.iG, as JT survives from that crash landing toss. A 4-man Avalanche might have bought enough time here, but 7E helped out by Ponlo, not enough life drain, and the bushwhack is there again from Baboka. 3 heroes down as the invasion into the enemy Ancients does not work out for Team Zero.
I mean, they were able to react to that because they had that Ob Sentry combination down prior to the team fight starting. So they knew as soon as that popped, the smoke was coming. They were able to sidestep, and once again, ZZQ, that's just his first death of the game, actually, giving away a killing spree streak, but he was just a little bit off the mark with not just the hook shot, but didn't get a single use out of the cogs either to try and burn down some of the mana on that Bristleback.
What's Ponlo up to here? Just invis and scouting? Oh yeah, sniping the Hoodwink.
Second Vanguard. ZZQ's got it. Wanting to go into a Crimson makes a lot of sense against the damage coming through from the Gyro. And speaking of, he's also going in onto Nothing to Say, maybe feeling like he could get a kill here. 70, maybe toss back into the cogs.
That's a challenging one, but nothing to say. He's going to go for the TP attempt, not successful whatsoever. The battery assault was there, and Beyond's going to come in to help out Ponlo continue his streak up to a mega kill.
And they ping out that observer ward that, again, I'm surprised it's lasted for this long. It's going to expire by the time they're actually going to be able to deward it. And remember, they popped the glyph previously, so Ponlo, he's having a fantastic game. 6, 2, and 4, just constantly shoving out lanes, enabling kills, saving his cores. Very, very nice start from this guy who's been much maligned across many different regions that he's played. He's a bit of a journeyman, isn't he? Playing across, I think, 4 different regions now. Western Europe, NA, C, and of course now China.
Oh, I didn't realize he played in NA. He was on Alliance for a little bit, right? In Western Europe? And...
Yes. He was on Quincy crew.
Oh, okay. Cool. I've been around then. Right now, backing up 7-8. Keeping the Tiny on the map. It's been good pace, I think, from Team Zero. Now they're smoking, they're hunting, they're finding these openings and making life very uncomfortable for G2.iG. Again, you know, this is G2.iG, and they're keeping things very calm. Net worth lead hasn't really developed past 2k, and he's in fact down to 1k now, but yeah, pick off after pick off onto nothing to say over and over again. Definitely going to help them out as the Troll Warlord, who hasn't really been involved too much. He's top of the net worth in the game, looking hot, gets a kill now. And the potential for them to, slip into Roshan, get Aegis, take tier 2s. This map could start being cracked wide open by Team Zero, just off the back of one more kill, maybe.
They're trying to get a little bit greedy, just again, do the right thing, shove out the lanes, make sure that you're not giving everything up for completely free. JT, he's not going to be able to TP out of this one either. Just constant stuns, looking to follow up onto him, but he does have the Aghanim Scepter, and you see one of those nasal goose stacks starting to build up.
Yeah, where's my gyro? Where's my flat cannon? Come on, give me some of that physical damage into my nasal goose stacks. He's tanked up fair amount of damage, but he's going to get brought down in the end thanks to the Gleipnir connection with the root. And now the chase, going to be held back. Baboka has already slipped into the trees.
You see how hard it is to kill him even without that BKB, right? Just with the Vanguard, just with the Aghanim Scepter, and that's with a lot of stuff being popped to be able to keep him alive. So I'm interested to see how these team fights are going to start to go down once you do get into these BKBs on not just JT, but nothing to say as well. They're going to really just be, again, those frontliners. Monet, he's been able to recover his net worth somewhat, back up to 3rd at the moment, but he's not into his own Aghanim Scepter just yet.
Right, speaking about how Troll, hasn't really joined these fights, he's been taking down tier 1s, farming backwards, kind of staying hidden and off the map. Monet's the same story. A good laning stage, good first 7, 8, maybe even into the 10-minute mark. Got a little active, but now he's been very passively farming. But this seems like it's his time to shine as they do gather up. JT going to snipe a courier and spot the clockwork falling back, but look at this close off from the rest of G2.iG. Nothing to say in with a stunt, surround the clockwork up and bushwhack him down. Is this now a Roshan attempt? Yeah, G2.iG straight in there.
I mean, you got the nasal goo, you've got the minus armor coming from the DK as well. I think this is a missed opportunity that Team Zero didn't go for Roshan when they have the chance to, right? They just got a little bit too hero-centric, and this is going to enable G2.iG to have that little bit of extra time to be able to get into that next item that they need, right? You've got the nasal goo stacks up. Roshan has minus 18 armor, and this is just on Roshan. Imagine on heroes the damage that Monet is going to be able to do, and he hasn't even reached his final form yet.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. This is I mean, it doesn't look like it, but this is a minus armor draft, right? If you think about minus armor draft in my head, it's like, oh, hang on, the hook got down at bottom. Clockwork straight in with Beyond and YSR chasing in, but as a tanky DK under tier 2, they need the Tiny to help out. They will bring him down. Bushwhack's a good one, though, with a sharpshooter onto the Clockwork. Not quite able to bring down the Tin Man, who does get back up to his little high ground. I get another good snipe on the DK, though. Delaying the timing here around this Aegis, which G2.iG would have loved to use to get out on the map.
They even popped the glyph to try and get a little bit of that multi-shot off, so now you're not going to have it to be able to protect this mid tower. I feel like Team Zero are just doing such a good job of sieging when they get the opportunities to. They're finding nothing to say, really trying to lock him down, knowing that he's the one maybe that's going to be able to open up the map a little bit, although tossing in Erica I'm not sure is the best choice, especially considering you've got Gyro with that critical mass at this point. Looks like you'll be able to back off, but yeah, you're really going to start to build up that that minus armor incredibly quickly. Look at even at X-Nova. He's just in position as soon as they're going to be focusing their attention elsewhere. He's just going to start trying to cut lanes, right? He's going to be annoying, basically, is the job of this Enchantress right now. Try and sneak in behind, get a little bit of extra farm. They've been able to find him, though. Will he be able to live is the question. I mean, he's got a 4-star.
Oh, I don't know. It's hunting season right now. There's no way he'll let the animals get away with this. The squirrel and the little deer, the fawn, trying to split push and cut waves. That's not going to be happening.
He got away, though, with them just taking the Tormentor, right? That just got him the Sproink, so it would have been nice if, you know, literally a microplay was able to get them into that big one. I would imagine Gyro is going to be the one to take this Wisdom Rune, perhaps? I mean, doesn't have the most in terms of levels for this stage of the game.
Bristleback actually being shredded here by the troll with a battle trance. Not so tanky anymore, are we? And that's BKB up now for him as well.
No.
Oh, Clockwork. Wisdom Rune grabs it under the nose of X-Nova with his hook shot forward. And he's a tanky boy. Crimson Guard, 7-1 charges. Just takes the brunt of the damage while Beyond and Ponlo thinking about their entry point. And can't go diving past the tier 2 immediately. G2.iG being given a serious run for their money here. They're the ones holding Aegis, but this has been a kind of a passive Aegis, letting the waves of Team Zero just crash over them time and time again.
It was always going to be the case that it was a farming Aegis, though. I think there's just a couple of misplays where you end up using JT perhaps a little bit too aggressively to be able to try and keep these waves shoved in, because they know that they've got pretty good high ground defense as well, right? Like, you could just put a Bristleback on the front lines with his back turned and then just, you know, say, well, come into me, come at me, bro, basically. Of course, there is always the danger with 7-8 with that Blink Dagger, and now he's even got a Kanda as well to be able to just toss you back out away from the rest of your team. So it's just a question of, are Team Zero going to be able to, even into this Aegis, find the pickoff that enables them to go onto that high ground?
Man, these sprites are absolutely ridiculous. The Enchantress is healing back up, even against Spirit Vessel, Radiance, Rocket Flares. The hookshot did miss, which is unfortunate, but now forced after low ground into the waiting arms of Ponlo, who is unstoppable.
I mean, you look at this, though, they spent a good, what, 20, 25 seconds going for that? None of the lanes are in a good spot to be able to potentially pressure this high ground. About time we've actually had a look at some of the items that Team Zero are going for. We've been talking about these BKBs that they've been going for quite some time on G2.iG. Where are they at? Looks like Sanjin Yasha is the go for both Tiny and the Troll Warlord, just really wanting to commit into a lot of these team fights. Make sure that you are able to actually dish out the damage when you're looking to try and start a lot of these engagements. But now, with the BKB that they've got on the Dragon Knight, they feel like it's go time, especially if they can get JT, when he will, up to his level 15. And he's only got about 200 gold left for his own BKB. So while you might not have the Aegis to be able to play around with for more than just the next 30 seconds, I feel like G2.iG, they've been able to stall this one out enough that now is their time to be able to come back into things.
Yeah, and it's one of these funny things again. Oh, hang on, I might have to come back to this, because both teams are posturing around that bottom rune spot. 15 seconds for it to spawn. G2.iG, 3 members smoked up. Good bit of vision placed by X-Nova there. Try and give a bit of intel in behind over the top of the ramp as ZZQ moves forward into the enemy Ancients. A Sproink back. Enchantress out, but the DK does get caught in the mid lane. Nothing to say, has to BKB up, and he's starting to walk away because his TP is on cooldown, meaning the hook shot from the right-hand side gets right on top of him. DK trying to break away from the cage, but the Troll Wall's going to lock him down with some roots and hits in from Erica.
Just feels like that none of them are really truly on the same page, right? There's just lots of people getting caught out solo, and it's fine if it's going to enable you to get into that next big item for themselves to enable the team fight, but with the BKB being popped as well, now you've just delayed the next engagement that you can have by another 30 or so seconds, and look at the burst damage that 7E is able to output onto Bobica as well. Once again, going for this glass cannon build.
Yeah, I felt like one of those... Oh, hang on, Monet.
Hold on, actually. Yeah.
He doesn't have BKB yet. He's 100 gold away from it. And Ponlo being a
Ponlo's
sneaky
got a
devil.
big streak. He can't give this up for free.
Pretty tanky with a Glimmer Cape and forced out to maneuver himself, but he's been stuck here in between the skeletons and taken down for 1,000 gold.
Yeah. Needed his boys to be able to play around him that time. Just a little bit of mistakes. Again, the lack of stuns on both sides, honestly, is a pretty significant factor. So
Yes.
70 not wanting to go in at that stage to look to commit, but Onlo just giving up a, what is that, 650 gold or so to Monet, plus all the assist gold on top of that.
That's
It's going to
grand.
bring him so much closer to this Daedalus, yeah.
Yeah, so I think in the mid lane, at Nothing to Say Death kind of felt like a sit rep gone wrong. You know, you've phoned in on the radio, you know, how you doing, Bristleback? I'm ready to fight. How you doing, DK? I'm ready to fight. And the Gyrocopter was the last one to respond, and Monet's like, I'm not ready. And then Nothing to Say
Not
is
yet.
already dying, you know? So it looked like they were posturing and getting prepared to have a battle, and Monet's like, no, I need BKB before that. But, yeah, my
Now
mate...
they can.
Now they can, for sure. But this is the thing, right? My main point before that fight broke out was going to be, you know, Dota is a game of expectations, and so far the expectation is Team Zero initiates, Team Zero gets a kill, Team Zero moves down lanes. And that's kind of been the flow of the game. We have not yet seen the actual combo from G2.iG. We haven't seen this nasal goo, flat cannon, physical damage with a blink stun from DK. The pieces, you know, the jigsaw puzzle's on the table. It's a massive pile of pieces. They've not put it together yet. But I think when they do, that picture could be freaking beautiful.
Yeah. You good at jigsaws, Gary?
I despise doing jigsaw puzzles. Lego,
Just
fine,
get
love
bored,
it.
or?
I do. I don't know what it is. During COVID, my partner and I, you know, tried to find little hobbies to do and stuff like that. You know, Lego was fun, buying, but that gets freaking expensive, as I think most people know. Tried to do jigsaw puzzles, and I like doing the outer edge, all the straight lines. But that's it. I stop there. I can't do the middle bit. My eyes, my eyes cross over, and I'm like, I'm brain off.
70.
Cannot do this.
70.
70's gonna wander dangerously close to G2.iG there, and ZZQ nearly.
They just don't have that initiation yet. DK, even though they've gone for this smoke, doesn't have a blink dagger yet. So they're very, very tanky right now on G2.iG. So hard to be able to kill all of them, but you just don't have that way to start the fights. So if Team Zero just look to play around an area where they feel strongest, that's going to provide them a huge advantage. And look at the vision. Over to the right side, Team Zero have the advantage. Over to the left, it's G2.iG. So in terms of their positioning, there really isn't one that comes out the victor. It's just where the fight actually ends up eventuating.
Yeah, which target you can jump on first as well. Like, Troll Warlord, I think, is unkilled this game. Has had a perfect game on Erica so far. Top of the net worth, yeah, 705. If he's able to latch on to the back lines, you know, helped out by the Tiny with the control from the Brewmaster with that Cyclone.
Look at this smoke.
This could be an impeccable move from them. The Blink Avalanche whiffs, though. X-Nova with a Centaur going to scout them out and maybe stomp them back as they do move forward to the Primal Split, trying to chase the Enchantress down. X-Nova looks pretty dead here under the Gluttony route as Monet comes back in with a call down, though. Flat Cannon with a nasal goose starting to go. X-Nova still alive, but now he dies. 70 gets the finishing touch. Beyond, oh, hang on. ZZQ gonna jet back over the high ground here as JT nearly dies. Has the BKB up and run away from Erica. Troll Ward now, shiny and golden, battle trancing up. The dragon trapped inside the Roche pit is rooted and being demolished by the Troll Warlord. No escape but Nothing to Say. Finally taken down as Monet moves in but trapped inside the cogs, chasing forwards towards Erica now, trying to output the damage onto the troll, but the life drain is there. Keeps the troll in fighting shape. The minus armor's not there, the damage is lacking, Gyro's in trouble, Avalanche Toss connects from 70, and now Baboka trapped in the cage again. ZZQ sets it up, a double kill for the Troll Warlord, a massive fight for Team Zero.
And YSR is beyond godlike now. Sorry, godlike, just the 9 kills, but we say just. He's still playing this game pretty flawlessly, right? Top of the net worth, making really solid rotations early on. Even around the 6-minute mark, he was TPing up to the other side of the map to be able to secure kills for his team. And JT maybe feels like he's going to be able to get this kill onto Beyond. I mean, he doesn't have a TP available for himself. He has a little bit of that Radiance burn coming through. Maybe he's going to be asking for Pomno to help him through the Twin Blade?
Down you go.
Yeah.
JT dead. X-Nova now trying to stand his ground and fight into Beyond, but the cavalry has arrived to come over the hill and take down the Enchantress. There you go. Beyond godlike now for Erica's troll.
I think they really just did underestimate the the necessity for them having the actual jump there. Oh, nothing to say. Like, you just could not start the team fight. Even with a whiffed initiation coming through from Team Zero, they were never able to just get onto the target they want, allow Bristleback to toss in the hairball, turn the back, get all of those nasal goo stacks built up so that Monet could actually do damage. I think he did a surprisingly low amount in that previous team fight, despite the fact that they had reasonable control over the high ground area of that fight.
And then right into Roshan. That Radiant side, bottom right-hand corner. And G2.iG still down a couple of heroes, means no contest here whatsoever.
Playing very clean, aren't they?
It's been really good. They've just been non-stop, put your foot down, keep this pace up. And Ponlo and ZZQ really have been leading the charge here. And Clockwork has missed a couple of hook shots, but outside of that, it's been utter perfection.
Speaking of ZZQ, he's going for a blade mail. So again, we talked about all of that unavoidable damage that you've got from the flak cannon, from the, honestly, just the acorn shot as well, but the bristleback, everything coming through there, and they might actually even be able to take care of JT as he's going for this Tormentor. See there, YSR moving on forward and actually helping him out a little bit. Those nasal goo stacks, thank you very much, he says.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, get Ponlo that shard. I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit biased because this is a very good performance from Team Zero, but we've seen G2.iG, doing this kind of split pushing, map controlling thing, but a great reaction again from Team Zero, not allowing any space, nothing to say here, trying to get a bit of jungle farm and then maybe cut wave after, but he's been caught by the perfect hook shot. It's ZZQ, nice angle, lines it up, gets the DK all caught up. Massive kill yet again from Team Zero as it just immediately TP across the map, and then they got to catch the next Nova deeper in the jungle as well with 70 Tiny.
And he's going to be building into that Silver Edge as well. So previously you didn't have an answer to the Bristleback. Now you do. You're going to have that, even just a little bit of that minus armor and regen going up against the DK, the Untouchable as well. There's a lot of stuff coming in very, very shortly for Team Zero. Just have a look at how important they feel like it is to actually lock onto a target and kill them for G2.iG. I think I saw two, maybe even three.
Never mind.
I was saying two, maybe three nullifiers being picked up by G2.iG, but it's going to be quite a while until they get into it. And I mean, this is second Aegis, this is high ground territory, and Team Zero aren't really letting up. This has been picture perfect performance coming through from them.
Oh, Roshan's banner and the Pugnivore. They're planting stuff on the ground, tossing someone back in towards the troll. BKB's up for JT, but it's Bristleback not lasting very long inside the cogs. Maybe with Monet, the damage being spilt out. They still get the kill on JT. Gyro not able to dish it out fast enough, and this Roshan's banner is still alive. Radiant creeps, along with the split, destroying the buildings quickly and moving on to heroes next. The Void Spirit drags Baboka back, right into the cogs and YSR's troll. Another lane being lined up here as well. They've got mid taking out half of top. Tier 3 down at bottom lane. The next port of call here for Erica as the glyph does come out of G2.iG. A buyback from JT. We'll see if this Aegis is enough.
Show they're just going to get tossed back.
Yeah, Avalanche is in. Monet has the BKB up. The troll goes forward. Massive damage onto Monet. The gyro is down with no buyback available. GG. There we go. Team Zero take game one. Upsetting G2.iG here in the early stages of this best of three.
Yes, they did indeed. I liked the ideas coming out from G2.iG. I even liked the minutes. He should be A-okay in that lane. They got rid of the big risks like the Troll Warlord that would have absolutely dumpstered him in the lane. But I want to see 70, when he does make his rotation, he's going to be praying for a 6-minute top power rune so that he's able to move towards the Night Stalker's lane, maybe get a kill or two, and just accelerate that Night Stalker timing towards the level 6 so that as soon as it turns into daytime, he's going to have not too much time until he's able to pop that Dark Ascension and still just have a lot more, I guess, active time on the map,
G2.iG are looking to get off to a good start here with a smoke, an unusual smoke into Radiant Ancients from that dark side of the map and setting up around that top rune spot. We'll see if they can come in behind the towers here if they spot someone moving across. And no one just
saw them. I think Ponlo just got a brief glimpse of JT there, so because of that, they have to reveal the move. Very nicely done, only putting the Weaver into this position to potentially catch them out. The rest of them, of course, standing just around the staircases.
I guess a little fortuitous that the Weaver was out there blocking the small camp, you know, smoked and Shikuchiing very quickly up the top and then wrapping around back again. I do get that little high ground observer ward to watch the top rune at least. So we'll see if Ponlo can maybe steal. Nah, he's not going for it.
He's a bit of a rune thief, isn't he? I mean, it wouldn't be a Ponlo game if at 7 minutes he wasn't at the enemy's tormentor trying to steal away that wisdom rune. I feel like it's going to be no different this time around. So this time he's the one that's going into the urn, so obviously going to be very effective going up against the DK and the Doom, of course, once he builds into that Spirit Vessel, and you know, as a support, he's got the freedom to be able to do that. We've seen support Weavers go into like a Rod of Atos as well, just to provide them with that little bit of extra control, but I feel like with the Pango roll, with the CK as well, it feels like he doesn't have the need to be able to do that.
70, he already taken a few whacks out with nothing to say in that mid lane. And Grandmaster Pango, sure, but you're against an NTS DK in that mid lane, which can be a real tough challenge. Beyond and Ponlo, looks like they're just kind of dragging the wave back as much as possible, get out of the grasp of Monet and X-Nova. And then down a bottom lane, Doom getting a few free hits onto the YSR Chaos Knight. I'm not sure how this is going to go for them in the long run, though. You know, Baboka and JT here maybe could offer kill threat on the Winter Wyvern if she oversteps. But Zizuku kind of tagging them up with the Arctic Burn, irritating the Doom for now.
Yeah, he's going to just be playing it very defensively, and he's got a great small camp creep to be able to play around with as well, although they lost the Sentry Ward battle on that hard camp, so it's actually going to be the Warpine Raiders pulled in on the bottom side of the map. Not too fortunate there. Top side, yeah, I'm really just looking around there for the cogs actually placed up here. Ponlo, he's caught inside of them, but just again with the Shikuchi, might be able to get away. Never mind.
Monet with the damage. That minus armor from Web of Terror. A few hefty hits as well. Lots of stats here for the Venge. Magic Wand and 3 branches. Building up the Venge pretty heftily there. It's down at bottom. Shadow Realm required from Baboka to get away.
Yeah, he's getting gone on up top.
From ZZQ and Monet. Swarm on him. Cogs protect him. Beyond and Ponlo, they could chase this one down and kill off the Venge. Good body blocks from X-Nova, but Night Stalker's actually stepped in front of him. Nighttime comes and one more tap will do the job here. Beyond getting a kill.
It's just so valuable to have, you know, this huge advantage, especially in the really early stages, right, in terms of vision. Night Stalker is just unparalleled with the amount of vision that he's able to provide. Basically, only Slark can look to contest him in terms of his, you know, standard laning matchups. So now that he's level 3 as well, 2 points in Hunter of the Night, and he's just going to be looking to try and consistently harass. Even if X-Nova, like, goes in onto him to try and make a play, I wouldn't be surprised if Team Zero try and turn around and just say, you know, screw it, let's right-click down the clockwork.
And speaking of vision, there's 2 wards here from G2.iG up in that top part of the map. The first one, you know, the normal one there on the little high ground to watch the rune spot, but this second one here, watching the staircases and I guess possible TP rotations and movements up the top.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that they've committed that heavily for it. It does go back to the fact that, you know, again, around those first rotations coming through from 70, I feel like it needs to be up towards the top side, right? Because Beyond is going to be so benefited by the fact that if they are able to get into an early-ish level 6, then he's obviously just going to be that much more active around the map, and you can look to once again punish a draft that still needs a little bit of time to get up and running from G2.iG. So maybe a little bit overcommitting, but I like the idea.
I mean, Monet right now needs all the protection he can get. And down at the bottom of the last hits of the cores. And DK and Doom doing decently for themselves. And Chaos Knight having a few struggles down at bottom as well, as he's constantly being held back. But this is kind of par for the course when you've got a Winter Wyvern support in your lane against a Willow and a Doom. Constantly bringing that pressure.
About to say, they might be considering going for an actual... Oh, is that going to be the boots removed? Never mind, YSR just not able to snipe the courier there, so that is going to enable a little bit of that escape potential from JT now.
And back up top.
A bit more elusive, yeah.
Cogs again, X-Nova just being a little bit of a bully here. And protecting Monet, he's the bodyguard. Keep the Vengeful Spirit in play for as long as possible, but this wave is constantly by the Radiant Tier 1, meaning it's a long lane here for Ponlo and Beyond to potentially chase.
Yeah. X-Nova has done a pretty good job, though, of just making space, enabling... Even if he doesn't get the deny on the flag bearer creeps, he's making sure that they're not getting the last hits just through little things like battery assault ticks and all that sort of stuff. So Doing a good job there as Beyond tries to run away, but only he ends up tanking one of the cogs. Never mind, gets the second. And they instantly look to try and get the harass going back the other way. So it's about to hit that 5-minute 15 mark, and Beyond's just level 4. So I'm just having a constant look at what's happening here with the Pangolier. Like, what position is he in? Is he making sure that Nothing to Say is relatively weak and not able to, you know, push into the tower if he does eventually make that rotation? So even though Beyond might be, you know, not exactly the most sustainable hero in the lane now that it is daytime, I really want to see, if it's not Ponlo, at least the Winter Wyvern make a move towards that mid lane to be able to play around those power runes. And maybe ZZQ is going to be able to do it because he's about to die.
Yeah, he's going to try and Cold Embrace and save himself under tower, but a new dire wave arrives and the brambles are down from Baboka. So this is good pressure on the tier 1 and might even just boot the CK away from the next creep wave coming in. So you want Winter Wyvern to TP mid, bottle refill, keep Nothing to Say back?
Could be a blessing in disguise, honestly. Like, it's going to be right before those power runes, and you're not going to have time to move anyone on G2.iG down to that bottom side. He's actually going to go top.
Yeah, I mean, Beyond in a little bit of trouble there. Cold Embraced up for now, and the turnaround on X-Nova with the Arctic Burn, Splinter Blast, and Blood Grenade swarm across the tree line. And it's going to not quite tag him up. Didn't hit him. I thought it would, but now Ponlo being battered back by the Venge, and X-Nova, he could TP out here, but he's just holding his ground, salving up, and waiting to see what comes his way. Wanders off.
And because of that lack of rotation, it means that 70, he's continuing to have a rough time against Nothing to Say. Taking constant harass means that he doesn't get the bottle rune. Nothing to Say didn't even need to use the invis rune. It was more just denying it away from this Pangolier, and it also means that, again, you're going to have your time delayed a little bit by Beyond here. Still just level 5. On low, his spidey senses are tingling around that 7-minute Wisdom Root timing, and X-Nova, he's just going to walk up into his death here.
Yeah, no sneaky business. Does survive, though. Gets away from the swarm and that. And mid lane, they tried to make a play in onto this Pangolier, but the brambles from Baboka didn't quite land as they would have wanted. So the Wisdom Rune on the left side going to Ponlo, while the one on the right still fermenting and waiting.
He's dead. That is a dead CK. Not what you're wanting with a traditional lane dominator. Although, I was about to say, might get away if they weren't able to land that last right click, because he did have the raindrops, would have been able to shrug off the chain lightning.
And he swapped a Fairy Fire back into his inventory as well. Was in the backpack. Not quite fast enough. And now a lot of breathing room here. Nothing to Say. Charging up to the top of the last hit board. 55 and 14. The Doom in his offlane, 49 and 8, top 3 net worth, all G2.iG. So it seems like, yeah, they've woken up a bit. Not quite, ready to go get that Wisdom Rune yet. Baboka's saying, hey, I've got damage on this tower. Let's bring down his tier 1. 8 minutes in, they're racing the Dragon Knight. Who can take the tier 1 faster?
It's probably going to be JT, honestly. Like, this isn't a lane that the Pango is going to be able to leave at all, and he's just being bullied so heavily, right? Like, even just the items that he's going into. Arcane Boots isn't necessarily going to buff up anyone in terms of their damage output. So until he's able to get into something like that Diffusal Blade, it really feels like it's going to be a pretty passive game from 7E coming through. At least he's got his level 6, nearly level 7, to be able to make these rotations, but I feel like they're just not going to put themselves in a position to get punished too heavily. This isn't the game to be going for dives, I think, on G2.iG. Stalker.
Let's pop the ulti here with Ponlo moving forward. They've got level 6 Night Stalker against a level 5 Venge. The Swarm and the Swashbuckle rotation coming in from Pangolier. Nets them a kill on the Vengeful Spirit, position 1 carry. And it's not for nothing, though. Mid lane being pushed by Nothing to Say. Bottom lane tier 1 has, of course, already collapsed, as JT has shoved that all the way towards tier 2. Monet feels kind of like a sacrifice in this game, waving the flag, saying, hey, look at me. While the other 2 cores are just making massive leaps and bounds up that net worth board. Doom is, 1,000 ahead of his nearest counterpart, the Night Stalker. DK, same story.
And he's got a Midas as well to be able to play off of. Oh, he went the Devil's Bargain. All right, so we might see it this game, Gary. Remember what I was talking about with the Midas buy and sell around the Devil's Bargain value? I'm interested to see if JT is going to go for that. So I think he goes a little bit later on.
You buy it, you use it, you sell it, you rebuy it again. He's going to doom the Wyvern in the mid lane for now. And there's Nothing to Say, and JT pairing up to get a pretty quick and easy freebie there onto ZZQ.
Yeah, there's no harm in, like, I don't know, maybe he does sell it. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what he ends up going for. As, you know, now that it is, of course, daytime the next little bit, they're looking to try and make a point on 70, which I'm a little surprised about. Nice hook shot to maybe enable Monet to get away.
Yeah, can we swap? Can we wand? Nope, the chain stuns come fast. And next Nova, the one that's going to TP out back to safety. As 7E can't catch up to Baboka there. And Dark Willow slips away from danger, but this is, you know, Night Stalker's prime time. Looking to hunt people down in the jungle. Meeting a bit of resistance here from Nothing to Say's Dragon Knight with an amplified damage on him. But a tower for the Chaos Knight, you know, being kind of kicked out, a refugee out of that bottom lane, finding a bit of a home for himself up top, protected by the rest of his team. But I think Erica's going to have struggles in finding that next place to live.
Look up top here, though. Nothing to Say. He's got that Blink Dagger. He learned from last game, and they're going to find the initiation. The big difference is they don't have the Bedlam just yet. Looks like they'll still have enough with the amp damage to be able to get the kill.
And good brambles. Good move from the Clockwork. A nice start, like you say, with that Blink Dagger debut out of Nothing to Say. 3k lead for G2.iG. Already having taken down these tier 1 towers. You can see the observer wards placed by Team Zero trying to replace their towers with a bit of vision from the observers mid and bottom lane. They need to create a bit of map space here for the CK to farm.
They need a bit of time to just be able to get anything, right? CK without an armlet is just next to useless. Very, very single target. You're not going to be able to deal with this push very well either. It's still early enough that you're actually in a little bit of risk of dying. This next Nova should be able to see the Pango rotating in and get away just in time.
Even blinking away with Nothing to Say there. It's down at bottom, Ponlo and beyond. A bit of poking onto JT. But we do have a Clockwork with a hook shot here. His Doom must be coming off cooldown shortly as well, right? JT
yep,
probably ready to go in a matter of seconds. Yeah, invasion into this Radiant Ancient spot as well. Baboka and Nothing to Say looking for any targets that are straggling around, maybe clearing out the camp. I'm not able to find anything just yet.
Hunter's Curse as well as he blinked away on Nothing to Say, so really playing with fire there, playing around their vision as well. I'm sure that's something that's going to be dewarded pretty instantly, so at least you're maintaining a little bit of control over your side of the map, both with the 4 wards now that you highlighted previously, as well as denying away on the enemy team. Are they going to be able to get a freebie here onto X-Nova, or are they trying to bait out a response? Seems like they want to commit.
Well, 70 disappears. Clockwork surviving. Swarmer's broken off him. Now the hook shot on top of the Doom on the Weaver gets them a pair of kills as G2.iG swiftly move into that bottom jungle. You've got all the wards in the world here. 4 observers from mid down to bottom, but you didn't see the aggression coming as it is so fast from G2.iG. X-Nova, though. Arctic Burn and the Night Stalker arriving. He'll get a D-ward as he'll lose his life, kicking some cogs around and making an absolute nuisance of himself.
I think he's fine just to take away that vision, right? Like, that's going to be the big goal for him this game. Just open up the map a little bit more. It's something that he wasn't necessarily able to do quite as effectively with the Enchantress in the previous game. Not really being that, like, big tower threat. But as long as you're providing a lot of vision, enabling the Doom to continue being just this little bit greedier, I think he's going to be pretty satisfied. And, well, I'm happy with Monet's item build, right? He's not completely useless, just going straight for the Ag Scepter. Echo Saber build up first. So, of course, the double attack going to enable him as, like, a farming tool, as well as a nice amount of reasonable stats overall for him to just be able to play around with and be a lot tankier if he does indeed get rotated onto now.
Yeah, it feels like he'll find himself in a good spot, you know, by minute 20. As the rest of the team are finding a lot of action out on the map. A smoke not connecting onto anyone. Might be able to catch out Ponlo. Now they're gonna move back in towards mid, find an arcane rune, and maybe swing up top. That's Dragon Knight.
Don't have vision on it right now on Team Zero, so they don't know that this arcane rune was stolen away. They'll take a free kill onto ZZQ if they get it, and it's very, very simple to be able to claim that one with just how farm Nothing to Say is, plus the Bedlam being used.
And a hook shot on Ponlo bottom. They should be able to get this if they use the Doom, but it's not available, so Ponlo, Shikuchi shifts away, turns with the Swarm and the Urn over onto JT. In comes Erica and beyond as well, with a Phantasm Reality Rift back in. The Doom being sliced down, and good reactions there from Team Zero.
Definitely. Like, again, you need your DK there to be able to start a lot of these fights, to find that guaranteed lockdown. The Clockwork, not really enough at this stage, right? Like, on its own, it's annoying. It's annoying for the laning phase. It's annoying for team fight denial, but for just the individual pickoff, I feel like it's a little bit too slow if you're not willing to commit the Doom.
I don't know what Pango was doing up here, being a little shifty in that northern jungle. Monet's like, nah, these are my creeps. Don't know what you're up to over here.
It's taken him so long to get into that defusal, though. You know, it just goes back to all the nerfs to the Swashbuckle, for example, as they're trying to make another play onto the Winter Wyvern. Will probably still get it, though. That Winter's Curse does not last long at all.
It doesn't, but they turn around on this Doom, though, with the Rolling Thunder. Beyond is dropping pretty low, silenced up for now, but the DK stunned, so couldn't get any real follow-through. But this Pango rolling and crashing between the cogs and the ramp, taken down, blown up. X-Nova gets the final touch.
Could we have a look at the damage summary for the Pangolier? I'm just having a look at battery assault stun, cog stun, battery assault stun. It was just so much going back and forth. Sometimes it's broken, that's fine. But yeah, it was a crazy amount, just knocking him back and forth constantly.
Where are you going? Yeah, nowhere. Permanently disabled.
Perfect cogs placement by X-Nova to make sure he was locking him in between the two. That's actually not an interaction I had even considered, right? With the larger gap between the cogs allowing Clockwork to walk out, you can just perfectly lock in a Pango into that little bit of like a gap.
And we've got enough of these little nooks and crannies where Pangos get stuck. You know, Nisha, every game Nisha plays Pango, he finds a new one. There's crystals to bounce off of. I guess there's the classic one near like top rune spot, right? Where the ramp has that little cliff. And the sheer cliff face where you get stuck into as well. Now Clockwork just making them himself. 7k lead for G2.iG as they just keep pressing the issue here. Everywhere you look, there's dire heroes swarming lanes, pushing things out. And the Radiant really kind of struggling to find little pockets of farm. Nicely done by the CK, though. You know, send his Phantasm into the Dire Ancients and large camp there to find a little bit of extra gold for himself. And that bottom lane does belong to them for now. But yeah, G2.iG, at the drop of a hat, they're ready to go. You're green lit. All their ultis ready. It is smoke time. They've got Blink Initiation. This Orchid from Nothing to Say gives them incredible kill threat onto anybody they find. And if it is the CK, he is the big ticket target to go for. The Blink stun comes. Nothing to Say starts it off with the Orchid out. And the damage is pretty overwhelming here. The Winter's Curse comes just a little too late. Can't save Erica's CK. And a hook shot. Continue this. Get the cherry on top of the Ice Cream Sundae. And the cogs being pushed around. Mana burn down. The Wyvern and Nothing to Say grabs a double kill. This has gone from, you know, being one of his worst Dragon Knight performances in Game 1 to one of his best here in Game 2.
Yeah, he's really making the most of that early blink timing, right? I think the big difference is he just finally had a support to be able to actually play with, right? I guess you could probably say that last game, Bobica on his Hoodwink could have maybe connected together a little bit better with a DK if he went blink, but that just wasn't the call, I guess, on G2.iG. This time around, though, just being able to toss that Bedlam in completely safe. And, well, Bobica's hold on might be in a bit of danger, actually.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get both of the supports here. There's a good Swashbuckle to start things off, and then 7E, Rolling Thunder to kind of crash around and cause some issues. Mid lane, Ponlo is eyeing up Nothing to Say here. Swarmed and Vesseled. Dragon Tail's ready with an Orchid in 3 seconds, and they are smoking quickly from that bottom lane in towards mid. Nice Stalker, he's swapped back into the Doom. JT and Monet, they've got the takedown on the Nice Stalker here, while Erica's gone deep with Ponlo trying to catch up to the Doombringer. JT back by his tier 2 tower, tanking up with the aura on him. DK has found Ponlo on the right-hand side, and now Erica in serious trouble.
What are they doing?
Winter's Curse is good here for the Winter Wyvern. I can kind of understand the move in from Team Zero. They smelled blood in the water and they were chasing it, but they didn't realize it was a massive group of sharks ready and waiting for them to turn around and bite their heads off.
I mean, I can understand the move if that tier 1 tower wasn't there, but you just, on the Night Stalker, walked over it under the cover of smoke, basically instantly revealing your position, gets swapped, gets stunned, gets doomed, and he explodes. Also a Radiance being picked up as well by Beyond, so wanting to be a little bit more of that consistent damage source. Yeah, that was not the angle of initiation. Like, they still had about half duration left on that Dark Ascension. They had a little bit of time left on the smoke as well. Just go the wraparound. You've got Nightstalk with Dark Ascension. You're going to have the vision advantage, and they just ran into the meat grinder.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of desperation, it feels like. You know, they could see an opportunity. They wanted to take it as quickly as possible. And they're trying to play at the pace which G2.iG have brought here in Game 2. And it's been a bit of a struggle for Team Zero. And again, you know, talking about the two supports they've got, Winter Wyvern and Weaver, good at poking and prodding, good at resetting. But in terms of actual catch and kill and extended team fights, these heroes are kind of garbage.
Yeah, Weaver's going to change eventually. Like, they become redundant, right? Where I feel like that's the difference between the G2.iG supports, where they could just do so much with level, let's say level 7, right? They just want to max out the Brambles, you want to max out the Cogs, you want to make sure you've got your ultimates available, and then you're like, great, we can do everything that we can do at every single stage of the game, and we're still going to be able to, excuse me, contribute offensively and defensively. Whereas, you know, it feels much more like an Aghanim Scepter Wyvern could do a whole lot more. Like, it's an amazing game for that sort of thing, but it's just going to take so long to get there. Same sort of thing with the Weaver.
There's a big pick-off on JT top, just blasting him down with everybody there. Rolling Thunder and they're crashing onto him. They did scan this, and I think X-Nova was nearby, but once the move was made, G2.iG realized JT was just dead to rights up in that top lane. And try and find a bit of action elsewhere, but this could be a good move. Kill the Doom, go into Roche maybe? Yeah, looking to snipe it out. Now, G2.iG, do you react? Can you react with your Doom dead?
I think that's the better question. Can you react? And I'm not necessarily sure they can. Nothing to say is just trying to play some Rat Dota right now in the mid lane, but the TP's coming. They see him though.
Rocket Flare gives the vision. They've got Observer Ward on. Nothing to say here, but he blinks forward aggressively with his BKB. Winter Skirt's required to save the Pango with the hook shot. X-Nova straight over the top of 70's Pangolier, kicking and punching him around with the cogs. Roshan's nearly dead. The Venge will fall. Terrorize comes in, pushing out the Night Stalker. Roshan's still alive. They're trying to finish off this Chaos Knight. X-Nova picks up a double kill. Erica down and out. Beyond in trouble. Ponlo gonna get chased out by JT here, who throws the Doom of the Night Stalker. Weaver will Shikuchi away, but Roshan is dead. Claimed up by Nothing to Say. And Monet has just sacrificed himself for the greater good. A team fight victory, a Roshan take, and G2.iG back in the driving seat. As X-Nova might still be able to catch up to Ponlo here. Jetpacking, rocket flaring, trying to scout him out. But the Weaver seems a little bit too speedy.
Oh, okay. I thought he might have committed for that courier. That's Bobika's Aghanim Scepter for himself on the Willows. So we've been talking about how much you're able to do without items. Well, now you've got that scaling potential for yourself as well. And I wouldn't honestly be surprised to see Bobika go into something like, I don't know, a Midas for himself at this stage of the game, just to enable himself to scale even further into some of those later talents.
God, it's funny seeing Venge hit stuff when you've got Specialist Array and Echo Saber, just like hitting so much stuff.
Hit, yeah.
Oh, whacking things around
that's the
all
other
over the
advantage
place.
as well. I mean, you mentioned Monet kind of giving up his life, but the benefit of having this Axe means that, hold on, Ponlo, they wanting to commit here.
The D-Ward is there from G2.iG.
Already popped the Phantasm though, and they've got a better ward on G2.iG, just scouting out the exact positions of everyone. Just they're very happy to wait this one out, right? JT, he's on the bottom side, shoving in the lane. He doesn't have Doom up right now, so he doesn't necessarily want to be part of this fight. And yeah, they're closing in on their own BKBs too. Crimson Guard, I believe, being worked on by the Clockwork. Has he finished it? Yes, he has. It's a great game for it. So much physical damage that you're going to be able to get rid of. The Geminate attack, the multiple hits from the Swashbuckle, all of the CK illusions. This is a great Crimson Guard game.
Oh, that scan connects. The Shivers Guard, the Blink, JT, not able to quite get on top of Beyond, who was nicely placed, offset from the creep camp, not properly in it.
But I mean, Monet, in terms of core levels, he's about a full level ahead of YSR at the moment, and that's what the Aghanim Scepter does allow you to do, right? 1, 5, and 6 on the Vengeful Spirit, but you're a strong laner, and you've got that free Aegis for yourself in every single team fight, while still having a good amount of right-click damage as well.
Oh, the execution. When Ponlo got his Shikuchi off and was like, yeah, quick on the fingers there, but in comes the clockwork. Great hook shot set up by the Dragon Tail stunt. Kill on the Weaver, who's been cutting waves and being very annoying. Oh, look at that Venge. Just one hit kills off like an entire creep wave.
Mm-hmm. You get lucky sometimes with your neutral item choices, and for sure, Specialist Array just feels insane here.
Is she ranged? Is she melee? Nobody knows.
Yeah. DK is looking to potentially commit onto maybe a tower, but I feel like, yeah, much more sensible to be able to play around that 25-minute creep wave coming in now from both bases. So siege creeps on the menu, and they will be able to just quickly take the bottom tier 2 tower, reduce the amount of space even further that Team Zero has to be able to play around with.
Oh, the Pango's in serious trouble. Just look at him. He just dies to the DK, straight up solo killed. That's Bloodthorn, Blink, Stun, into death.
It's one of these games where it feels like they don't necessarily do exactly the same thing, but there's no supporting cast right now on Team Zero, right? A Lotus Orb would be amazing this game if they were able to pick it up, but just no one can. Everyone else needs something else prior to it. They just feel way too focused on damage dealing, I think, at this stage. And are they going to commit for this?
Oh my god, yeah they are! Look at that, Shiver's Doom. The Glimmer's not going to save you there, buddy. Next Nova, he is deep in behind enemy lines. Nothing to say he's going to come in here to clear up the Winter Wyvern, though. But a Dragon on Wyvern action. Now they're straight up into that bottom lane where Monet is already set up for tier 3s. And we could see a pretty early lights out for Team Zero in game 2.
Yeah, this feels like game over to me. Just going to be able to secure a tier 3 tower for themselves as well. And even if it gets to the later stages of the game, remember, you've already got Bobica with his Aghanim Scepter. He's just going to get scarier and scarier. So this is now 4 legitimate cores that you're going up against with. Even at this stage, it feels like Pangolier isn't much of a core. He's trying to get into the Aghanim Scepter for himself, but outside of one pretty decent fight, it just feels like his impact has been not quite there. And they picked this again into the DK.
And they picked all of it into the DK, didn't they? Yeah. You gotta stop letting people have DK, just ban the DK, yeah. I don't know, they beat it in game 1, maybe feeling a little bit fruity here in game 2. I seriously think this Team Zero draft, they've maybe overthought things. You know, this Winter Wyvern, the Weaver first pick is nice, but yeah, going for straight up Pango into Wyvern. I think the CK pick was good to try and remedy their draft, but a lot of problems here for Team Zero, as they do try a last-ditch smoke effort, coming out of their base at the very least, to try and backstab into Monet. Get a catch on the Vengeful Spirit. Phantasm and the damage onto the Venge. Swap is there, and the DK unloading his payload onto the Pango. Takes him down. Shot comes across. Monet still alive. Finally spliced down by YSR. But Team Zero just being pummeled now. The remaining cores here from G2.iG far too strong. Beyond will chase up into the Dark Willow, but Dragon Knight and this Vengeful Spirit Illusion turn around on the ZZQ with the Doom, and GG called as we'll tie things up 1 apiece here in this best of 3. G2.iG taking game 2. And convincing victory into convincing victory, one way then the other. This has become...
I wonder how much value that's actually going to provide to him, and if he's picking it not so much for the lane, but a little bit more just for, you know, these eventual early skirmishes that Team Zero are going to be trying to push for, because they're the ones that are going to be on the offensive.
And go nuts. A little hoodwink. Scurry down to bottom lane. Beyond on the Pangolier. So shifting it out from that mid lane into off lane. We'll see how it does. Now seeing all the innates there. The Sapling, Leech Seed, ground targeted. Hellbear convert for Ponlo's Chen. Gonna summon the Tomato.
Just wants to be whacking people. No, Potato to start off with, Gary, until he's level 3.
Oh, that's true. Well, the icon shouldn't be red then, should it? It should change.
True.
30 seconds to battle.
Yeah, looking at this, I think
final form.
Team Zero are going to have their foot down the entire game. If at any point they fall behind.
Potato or like a sweet potato?
Who is this little fella? He's a normal little, like, he's a Yukon Gold.
Not a russet, right?
He's not a russet. No, he's not a Jersey Royal or a new potato. He is a nice Yukon Gold, an all-rounder. Make mash, make roast, whatever you want to do with it.
Oh, I think Ponlo was trying to get a little bit cheeky there, so he actually denied his convert just to get the death throw from it.
Oh,
which
yeah?
is the plus, I think, 100 attack speed, but I think he was wanting it to get slightly lower, but he ended up denying it a little bit sooner. Teamfight didn't break out anyway, so it didn't really matter, and it's going to be back up by the time he gets to the lane, so not the worst, but yeah, just cheeky little things that people like to do to maximize the Chen experience.
Just little min-maxing advantages where you can. Well, mid lane, spirit on spirit. Very important lane in my eyes for Team Zero here. 7E, he is the be-all and end-all of team fight, of initiation, of everything, really. Magic damage. And this Earth Spirit's got to get off the ground pretty quickly. We'll see what he can do against Nothing to Say and his Storm Spirit in this laning stage early days. As we'll see across all three lanes here as X-Nova takes a bit of a beating top. And down at bottom, JT on the Doom up against a Weaver and a Treant. So far, so good for G2.iG.
It's going to be very important for Bobica to be... He's got to make sure he's microing his convert very well. That he's manipulating this bottom creep wave to perfection, just to make sure that JT is going to be safe in a position when Bobica wants to be making those rotations. Like you said, spirit on spirit, very high individual skill gameplay is going to be needed, but you also need power runes to be able to play around with. And you got to say, Trian and Chen are two heroes that are lane dominators, not exactly the most mobile heroes around the map. You compare that with a Hoodwink, on the other hand, much better movement speed, just base, much better ways to just be able to get in, get a quick stun, and maybe use that to be able to secure either a rune or a kill, and quickly get back to the lane. So I feel like JT just needs to be in a position where he can sit back right next to his tower, not have the threat of dying. And it's especially more prevalent because he's not going to be going up against stuns either, right? So yeah, he just needs to make sure that he's got the movement speed to be able to get away.
Or a TP scroll. I think this is one of those games where we're just going to see TP scrolls escaping time and time again for G2.iG against Team Zero. Of course, G2.iG have plenty of disables, and the Glimpse, of course, one of the key ones as well. 7E 9 and 2 against the Storms 10 and 2, so pretty dead even in that mid lane. We did see a pretty big gap emerging with that bottom lane, like you were mentioning. The Weaver coming out on top over the Doom pretty heavily. 7 denies already there for Erica. Only 6 last hits for JT. I'm not going to say in this mid lane, taking a bit of a hammering from 7E, but as that bottle, it was full up with a water rune. It's all fine.
I think they're still going to be a little passive. Both teams are kind of a little scared to move on forward. Maybe once these level 3s break out and you've got, the 2 points in the Rocket Barrage, the 2 points potentially in the Glimpse. Nova just trying to keep Ponlo away to secure the the Lotus for himself, and he'll be successful.
It was easy Q down bottom. And chased out here. He is stranded away from his trees. The big man going to get right-clicked down by JT. First blood for the Doom. Recovering out this lane where he's lacking the last hits, but getting a kill there is massive for him.
Yeah, really does equalize the sort of situation. Brings him up to level 3 as well, so even if he does come back to the lane and he gets right-clicked a few more times, you've got the... We're going to call it the level emo pain coming through here from the innate from JT. It's the level question mark. As he's slightly ahead now of the Treant Protector. But a nice start for sure.
Yeah, I'm wondering if JT maybe wants like a... Or I guess he's not going to go for one now, but maybe he wanted a ring of protection or something in this lane. Just being hit by a Treant and a Weaver, the Swarm, and minus armor. It all gets a little bit annoying for him, but it seems like he's just going to go straight into Arcane Boots. Get that Veil going. Helm of the Iron Will maybe help him out there as well. Could go into that first.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to be able to go for that stuff. Again, this is a team that's trying to run you down, right? So I think going overly defensive isn't going to be the way to benefit yourself, and even just something with that passive regen coming through, right, from the Helm of Iron Will, he just needs to make sure that he's rushing into that on JT. And again, no stuns, so he really doesn't care. Like, the Treant Protector isn't going to be able to do too much against you, and Bobica's always going to be in a position to make sure that he's got that, like, teasing distance, I like to call it, where you think that you're safe to be able to find some harass onto the core, but in actual fact, if you stick around, you're probably dead.
And Ponlo adding a little troll to his menagerie. trying to step up onto Monet here, but this gyrocopter offering a lot of damage with the flak and the rocket barrage as they do move onto the gyro and deny the creep. But the glimpse back held the Pango away. Treant has moved in though, didn't see him coming in through the twin gate, rotates onto Monet, the gyrocopter barely surviving. Now Baboka and X-Nova can turn maybe. Beyond, all tagged up here with a Thunderstrike and a Bushwhack there trying to shield crash away from danger. They're spreading their damage across too many targets, but this next glimpse just out of range. X-Nova's trying to find it, but he can't quite get there in time.
Has been killed.
Punished a little bit for going the second point in the Thunderstrike there. Would have been certainly able to catch the kill. Even just, I think he got an additional right-click in, which he didn't necessarily need to. ZZQ is in a position to try and go onto X-Nova, though.
Gyrocopter pulling small camp. He'd salved up and maybe could have joined this one, but a glimpse back on Beyond. You were asking for tri-lanes yesterday. We've bloody got one 6 minutes in here. Treant, Chen, Pango, tri-lane.
Is under attack.
Oh, and the luck ends up going Team Zero's way. No supports rotating towards that mid lane, so you'd have to say Team Zero are pretty happy about that. That's another reason why I actually really like that rotation from the Dream Protector, right? You basically forced Boba to come top instead of potentially going to secure that power rune for his Storm Spirit. Results in, again, a little bit of luck, and it means that 70's got the regen rune. Imagine if, this level 6, potentially level 7 Storm very shortly had that regen rune. Just that potential for the rotation was enormous.
And now they're rotating bottom. And Weaver is, outstripping the JT Doom down bottom already with 43 last hits and 19 denied. 7E comes in and, the final nail in the coffin there for JT, who's only got 23 last hits. Batters him out of lane. Nothing to say, Storm Spirit moving into large camp, maybe thinking about the rotation up to top, but he's under vision and right next to the Treant.
He soaked up a bit of that experience. Once again, making sure they're not losing out on the Wisdom Rune for themselves. Very important for, I would say, in particular, Team Zero to be able to get into their level 6s, right? Like, they don't have any of that minus healing outside of the Doom. So, if you're able to get into the early overgrowth, have that additional stun for yourself, have the AoE Hand of God coming through as well, it's just going to be so much more impactful, that I think, relative to, your static storms, all of this individual burst that IG have.
There's a good attempt by the Weaver as well, trying to Shikuchi quickly to steal the Wisdom Rune, then time-lapsing back to lane, immediately back up in the face of the JT Doom, and just soloing 1v2 down there, and giving the chance for Ponlo to kind of farm through jungle, gather his army, and maybe think about a play up top. They are kind of desperate, though, to get Pango to level 6, and this is why we don't tri-lane in Tota anymore. Experience sharing just isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, for sure. And even just having a Chen into a gyrocopter as well feels a little bit awkward. He's just going to be able to pop that flak cannon. They've got a reasonable amount of AoE damage if Hoodwink is around to be able to, get that Blightstone proc onto multiple different units with the Acorn shot. So I feel like those die pretty shortly. This time around, hold on, TP up top.
ZZQ.
Oh, what are you doing up there?
He's stuck inside that Connect field.
Does mean that Nothing to Say won't have Boba to be able to make this play with, and Nothing to Say was the recipient of the Invis Rune for himself as well, so he's got a little bit more of that playmaking potential. He's doing a great job of just stealing away a lot of this farm that, of course, a Storm Spirit is just so much more capable of getting than an Earth Spirit is. Just those low cooldowns, especially even for the laning stage, right? Storm Spirit's going to come out on top relative to the Earth Spirit because of the static slide.
It's so much faster, like push the wave, farm a camp, back to wave, and back to jungle again. Lance of Pursuit there. Nifty little item for Nothing to Say. And yeah, we are in this period now where it's kind of waiting for Chen to hit the mech timing until Team Zero feels comfortable again. But they've already made some pretty big waves with this Weaver farming out, getting a good laning stage for Erica. But just look at this juicy jungle. Monet munching away at neutral creeps in that northern spot, taking down multiple large camp and medium camp stacks. And Gyrocopter's going to race himself up towards the top of the net worth with these. That's a big difference there. 12 again, 12 on 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was talking about in terms of, like, Treant and Chen are heroes that want to stay in the lane. They are not mobile, they're not wanting to move around the map, they're not wanting to secure power runes or go stack, they're just wanting to try and crush the lanes. So the fact that they haven't, comprehensively won any lanes, they haven't been able to take any towers, it's a huge win for G2.iG.
Hell, even the fact that the narrative has been, you know, Weaver winning the lane, Weaver doing well against Doom, JT having a bad time. The Doom is only 400 net worth behind the Weaver.
Yep.
Devour is one hell of a drug. Taking down stacks, super, super good. Catching up quickly now, and this net worth lead, about 2k for G2.iG, is starting to accelerate and develop much further. And this is, right here, right, 10 to 20 minutes is where they need to make moves happen. So getting on top of JT, optimistic TP.
Optimistic. Yeah. Especially with the Magnetize being committed. So it's something, you know, you're delaying things out a little bit, but this is where you get value out of the gluttony, you know? If you're dying, you're still ticking up on the cooldown of that second charge of the Devour, so you can potentially just treat it like a mini Midas, basically. You're going to get the double value out of the consume there. It's going to bring you closer into that Blink Dagger nice and shortly.
Yeah, I mean, that kill is good. It feels like a necessity, though. Like, if that kill doesn't happen, I'd start feeling a little bit doom and gloom here for Team Zero. They need to...
up top feels good. This is where Eric is at his best, when he's able to move around the map, where he's able to have a good enough lane that he can make these sorts of moves, and, you know, you get a kill potentially into a tower. This is something that they've done every single time that Team Zero have come out on top. So the fact that, again, lane secured, now it's just about a lot more of that map influence.
Yeah, they're doing everything exactly as they need to.
Actually,
Chen still level 5, smoked up with the Earth Spirit.
There
we go, got a 6. It's up the illusion rune, but they're not going to be able to stop a few of these stacks from being farmed. Nothing to say, claiming one of them. Maybe going for a smoke of his own with Bobica. Nice little bottle refill. And probably another stack being built up as well. Never mind, they go for a smoke just a little bit quicker because the tower is being pressured in.
Well, I see the Weaver has pretty limited mana here. Being bottled up, but X-Nova, Kinetic Field, Static Storm dropped on the Earth Spirit. Nothing to say, and Baboka with the damage over the top. The Hand of God into the Glimpse, though, will drag him back. Even with that additional bit of a heal, they couldn't keep the Earth Spirit alive. A nice kill there, defending their tower, stopping them, the momentum of Team Zero at the same time. Very important for them, because while this aggression is happening, you're having a bit of a scrap in the mid lane. Monet is becoming monstrous on this gyrocopter.
Yeah, he's getting a ton of farm. He's being able to equalize the really, really good lane that Erica had on the bottom side of the map. So he's not even into like that big farm accelerant yet either, right, on the Weaver. He's still, what, 500 or so gold away from being able to finish up the Maelstrom. So not only is he not a significant contributor to team fights, he might have dominated the lane, but he can't even farm quite as effectively as the Gyro can yet either.
Oh, speaking of monsters,
try and go down bot, yeah.
A Storm Spirit. Absolutely insane. Closing on 8k. And a smoke up here.
Feels like he took it personally, that game number 1. Nothing to say. He's got a lot of pride, for sure, to be able to play around with him. There we go. They're going to be able to find the pick off onto the Treant Protector. No points in the living armor just yet, so this tower is going to go down nice and easy. I love teams that don't waste a single second, right? Monet came down here early, knowing that the team was in a position to be able to join in onto him in about 10 or so seconds. He's farmed enough that he wasn't going to die as a result of all of that. It's just really good, efficient gameplay coming out from G2.iG.
Do they want to defend the top lane?
Maybe. I mean, they didn't use any TPs for it, but maybe they feel like they can look to try and take mid. Maybe they're going to put a little bit more focus onto just securing the Wisdom Rune for themselves. I feel like they could, potentially, but, I mean, more stacks are never a bad thing when you're playing with a Gyro that's as farmed as Monet is.
It just looks like they've carved a bit of the map for themselves, and they're holding on to that for now as the smoke from Team Zero comes down south. Baboka's going to dodge the roll out of Earth Spirit and the roll of Pango as well. Sharpshooter maybe to try and dodge here. Gets a bit of distance. Static Storm drop down on them. Baboka still will die, but the drag back in with the Earth Spirit Blade Mail up, causing problems for Nothing to Say, who's vesseled up and has to run away. But now the Doom is in, stomping him up. Earth Spirit in trouble as Monet arrives. They turn around on the Gyro, though, with a swarm of the Weaver coming back in. The roll and the Magnetize. Monet is dying. JT in trouble. A double kill for 70. The roll goes deep. Another catch and kill here onto X-Nova, potentially. A kick, a silence trying to tag him up. X-Nova dying to the vessel in the base. Oh, it's glorious from Team Zero. Storm has come back in, but he zips in and then immediately bails away.
And that was without even having a power rune at their disposal as well. 7E just getting away on a scrape of health at there. And it just shows you why, you know, I'm always going to go on about it, right? Chen just is the strongest hero between this 10 and 15 mark of the game in the entire Dota roster. Just because of how much sustain you're able to provide, not just to one hero, but to the entire team, right? It means they're able to focus them down, just keep the ball rolling, even just not needing to use the Hand of God until the very end when Nothing to Say was trying to reinitiate.
Yeah, just this perfect confluence of abilities as well, right? Pango and Earth Spirit with these rolls, rolling boulder, rolling thunder, crashing onto people over and over again. And G2.iG not able to connect with their Doom and their Hoodwink properly. And you know, this kind of piecemeal attempt as well where the Hoodwink gets initiated on, Storm comes in, they drop low, they lose the Hoodwink, then Gyro... similar to game one, where it feels like Monet's a little disjointed from the rest of the team. He comes in late and he wants to fight and stand his ground because he feels strong. But when you're fighting basically two heroes down, you're playing 3v5 into ultis, into a farmed Weaver, and like you're saying, into sustain, Hand of God, the mech. The Leech Seed.
It's a really nice overgrowth from ZZQ there. Like, that Leech Seed would have done so much in that previous fight, right? Just in terms of just damage, healing. It's why you wanted the Ancient Apparition to be picked up by G2.iG, right? It would have just nullified so much of this pressure that they've been able to put on thus far.
I wonder what the G2.iG team comms are like, because Monet, they're having a bit of a chat, monologuing a little bit, maybe saying, hey guys, let me get my Ags, let me get my BKB. We don't, like, G2.iG don't need to rush this game, right?
No.
Team Zero are the ones, the onus is on them to make this pressure happen in this period where Chen is strong, like we've said, from draft into game. G2.iG can kind of sit back a little bit, maybe outgreed their opponents with his Doom and Gyro. ZZQ, protected by the Pango.
Nice roll.
In comes 7E, the chain stuns, the overgrowth, back in onto Nothing to Say with the Magnetize, and down he goes.
All right, they tried to get a bit of a, I wouldn't even say a freebie there. They're kind of in super deep, even though it's just trying to pick off a Trio Protector, so nice movements from beyond. That was a fresh Blink Dagger purchase that he was able to use that one to get in on top of the Storm Spirit, and yeah, even the Geomagnetic Grip for that quick silence, making sure that they were able to pop the Storm Spirit even through the Shield Rune as well. So I'm not sure I necessarily agree with the going for the Bloodthorn build here on the Storm. Maybe just feeling like, look, if we're going on someone, we have to be absolutely certain that we're going to kill them, and that's what's going to enable us to do that. But I feel like he needs to be leaning a little bit more on his own survivability. You know, he doesn't have a Treant Protector or a Chen behind him. The Eternal Shroud, to me, feels like the go.
It's such a solid item. It's kind of surprising to see him not go straight on into it. And Gleipnir now done for Erica's Weaver as well, so even more added control and the ability for Weaver now to start team fights, or maybe even just get solo kills on his own.
Feels like the talking that Monet was doing before, that was really around, okay guys, when can we actually fight? Because he's nearly got the Aghanim Scepter finished up for himself, but that's not enough. He needs that little bit of extra on top of it, whether it's it probably is going to be the BKB, right? Just to make sure that he's not getting silenced, that he's got an answer to
or a Manta.
Like,
it's a Treant, right?
Maybe both, you know, honestly. Just to make sure that you're never being locked down. Probably actually the Satanic coming after that, right? Just with the basic Dispel component that does have. But I'm sure it's mostly going to be around JT, just being able to build into this Shiva's Guard, because no one on the team at the moment has a Vessel, no one on the team is really going to be able to go into a Skadi, so that's really the only form of, like, minus healing that you're going to have anytime soon.
And Ponlo having a bit of a back and forth there with Baboka, but gets caught out. Nothing to say. Comes in with the damage. And G2.iG, they are all very tight together here and smoking up after that kill, looking for a little bit more. Good smoke breaks. 7E season coming. Zip in.
Treant's hanging around.
Blink away. Gleipnir onto a couple. Swarm is there as well. 7E thinking about this roll back in onto Disruptor. G2.iG all separated and split. Nothing to say. We'll get the ball lightning out of danger for now. 7E, look at how hungry he is. He knows that Nothing to Say is pretty low on the mana pool. And he's not going to go this deep for it.
Guess is wrong. That's alright though. Still able to make a bit of a turnaround. They need to make sure that they're actually, again, pushing into something off the back of this though, right? They're just still hunting for more kills, but a really good Delta split disengage coming through from G2.iG, where they basically pop nothing. Like, sure, the smoke was used, but they didn't actually commit into that team fight all that heavily. And I have to wonder, like, what is X-Nova actually going to buy next? He's got a lot of gold saved up, as they actually are probably going to be able to get this kill up here onto 70. Okay, that's a nice one to be able to secure for yourself. Costs yourself the Doom, but I mean, if JT's getting involved, that's just going to be the Shiva's Guard being picked up a whole lot quicker.
Yeah, Shiva's Guard, Bloodthorn. Get into these next tier of items that much faster.
So what I was saying about X-Nova is that it's a really good game for the Aghanim Shard, but it's also a really, really good game for the Blink Dagger, right? Like, you want to make sure that you're getting onto this Pango before he can roll up. You're following up on the Storm Spirit initiations to be able to guarantee a lot of these kills. Even just the Weaver punishing him without the BKB could be enormous. Maybe just banking on the fact that maybe you're going to get the Aghanim Shard anyway from the Tormentor. It's up, so this is the time where I'm sure X-Nova is saying to his team, guys, like, imagine having the Thunderstrike inside the fog to potentially catch out a Treant Protector, a Pango pre-roll, a Weaver who can't actually Shikuchi away. You're always going to be able to have vision to be able to get the glimpse back. So this is actually a really vital Tormentor for them to take. And maybe Team Zero were thinking, you know what, they're going to be prioritizing doing this instead of playing around the Roche area, so they'll secure it for themselves.
And there it is. That's Weaver with Aegis, an absolutely massive threat on the map right now for G2.iG. Tormentor will be focused in. And then he comes across to help them out. Baboka and X-Nova. It's always like a teeth-gritting, toe-curling moment when two supports are nearly dying to it. They will get themselves the shard. Unfortunately, it does go to Baboka's Hoodwink and not to X-Nova's Disruptor. Hunter's Boomerang, not bad, though.
Yeah. I mean, it does still give you kind of like what we were talking about with the Storm Spirit going for... Has he got the Bloodthorn finish now? He does. Wow. Nothing to say, has just been such a beast at farming this entire series. And, well, they're going to absolutely have the damage to focus down anyone that gets going on. Hunter's Boomerang, plus the Bloodthorn, plus all the damage that, of course, is inevitably going to be coming out from Monet. Still not into the BKB yet, though, so they want to avoid fights, especially around that Treant Protector.
Can't stop looking for these BKBs. A good silence from 7E.
Very nice.
High ground ward attempt from X-Nova was equally as nifty as well, but Spirit's out of there. Yeah, this is wait for BKB time for both teams, it feels like. Gyro's nearly at his. Spirit, quite distant. Maybe could look for a fight in the meantime. Look at that win probability, though.
Oh, true. Thought it would be a little bit more in their favor. I guess it could really go either way, right? It's going to depend on how these fights go once you pick up the BKB on the Gyrocopter. I think ZZQ is going to be like the deciding factor over a lot of these fights. If they're able to find him out pre-overgrowth or force like a panic overgrowth out of him, where you're not actually worrying about, do I pop my BKB, do I or not? That's the sort of thing that, if you are actually able to just shrug off a big ultimate, a big team fight ultimate as well, especially in these enclosed areas, right? Like, Weaver's got the Glipnir, more control. You've got the Magnetize that's going to be going off. You're going to have Rolling Thunder. You're going to have all of these Chen auras as well. So they want to try and lock this fight in to as small an area as possible. Whereas much more pick-off oriented it feels from G2.iG. They don't have the real same potential of, that area control as what Team Zero do.
Well, an easy tier 2, and now the swarm through that top jungle. Early warning system ward placed down by G2.iG. X-Nova's gonna dump the ward down, run back, and hold back as they move down bottom. Overgrowth, and the Pango arriving, gonna snipe out the Hoodwink down here. Stop the pesky squirrel from split pushing and cutting waves, which Baboka is so very adept at doing. And now it's this next move that's the important one. I kill on a support, cool, you open the map, you crack it a little bit. Now, you've got to go and find a core kill. Go and find a tier 2 tower. Plant yourself somewhere on the map. And that's where the line is drawn. And your Radiant side, you're playing into Dire. Mid and bottom, primary targets for you to play from the Ancients' high ground. This is where you want your vision. This is where you want your base camp. They're set up for like a multi-lane push right now.
Yeah, and they want to make the most out of that Aegis as well. It's got a minute and a half left on it. They've been able to get into a little bit of those next timings. 7E having the Sanjin Yasha feels really nice as well. Just gonna, potentially be able to shrug off a little bit of that additional control, whether it be from the Bloodthorn, from the Bushwhack. The only thing that it's not going to impact is the Static Storm. So again, it's really just going to be, in my eyes, on Xnova to be able to find that catch onto the Earth Spirit. Situation like with some of his item progression on the Disruptor. What did he end up going for? Has he been able to finish up some of those big items?
He's got a blink.
That's really what he needs.
I'm just looking at this Weaver, man. Another perfect game from Erica so far. 3, 0, and 4. Top of the net worth. Hell, Pango is 4-0-3. An offlane hero I don't put a lot of credence or faith into, but Beyond has pulled out all the stops here. Do very well in lane and then pull out these team fights alongside 7E.
He had a bit of time in the woods, but you know, Erica back at, what was it, TI11, I think, got top 6 when he was playing with Vici Gaming, so very, very good result for him to be able to come through. Might have been TI10, actually.
On low.
Hold on.
He's getting caught out here. Nice hurricane, but the Vortex still pulls him. But look at this damage and control and nothing to say. The Hand of God. In comes the Static Storm. Ponlo's in trouble as Monet does get the damage out with his BKB. Finally, the Gyrocopter's been unleashed. But now, potentially, the chase is on. Xnova's being eyed up by the Weaver and the Treant. Moving in with the Pangolier, and they'll root up the Disruptor. No way of escaping here for Storm or Disruptor as they both die. Trading out their lives pretty equally for the Earth Spirit and Chen. So mid for mid, support for support.
Certainly wasn't an ideal Static Storm, though. It was used after the Hand of God already used, after, and it was only on the Chen as well. So they weren't really able to, you know, continuously burst down the rest of the team. They weren't providing that pre-BKB control that they're really needing. As JT, he's trying to make a bit of an aggressive move here. No BKB yet for them to be able to play around with.
And then comes the Pango. They go straight back in on. Look at the damage coming out of Erica. This Weaver just destroying them. A double kill comes out of the Weaver. Triple likely as well here as Baboka. Well, he's going to get out of danger as it looks like Erica just wanted a time lapse and get as far away from that fight as humanly possible.
And not wanting to get stunned up right next to a tier 2 tower with that homing missile. But yeah, all that damage coming through from the Weaver. And this is pre-Aghanim Shard as well, right? So he's got even more potential that's going to be coming out very shortly. They just got to find those right targets, right? Punish them when they don't have the BKBs available. Pango, Earth Spirit, those are the ones that are creating the chaos to enable YSR to really go to work.
I'm kind of curious now. You know, thinking about the way this is going, we've been talking about it before, but we're in the upper bracket. They've got a couple of chances to go. Game 3 and a best of 3. But do you know who drops into that spot to play against Turtle Team?
Ooh.
Is it the loser of this?
I'm not sure.
I don't know if the bracket flips or anything like that.
We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure we'll be able to see post-game. Keep the viewers in suspense, Gary. That's what I always say. And we will. It's going to be a rough one for whoever gets put down into that lower bracket do-or-die situation, right?
And
a quick look at... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I am getting ahead of myself as well, because, of course, Team Turtle have to play against Spiky Gaming first, but...
True.
Team Turtle look pretty damn good so far. Yeah, that is one of those, the death knell, the bell is tolling down in the lower bracket for some of these squads if you do drop down.
Sure.
And also, it could be huge here for Team Zero to have the upset against G2.iG straight up and move into that upper bracket final. A step away from being qualified. Because that's it, right? This is a best of 1 now, and then a best of 3. You've got to win, 3 games potentially, 3 or 4 games, and you're qualified to TI.
Yeah, that's so close. They're like agonizingly close, honestly, for a lot of these players. Remember, we were talking about prior to this series, the hunger that I'm sure is going to be coming through for a few of the players that haven't been to TI before, or it's just been so long. They just need that, they need to scratch the itch just that one more time, and well, they're doing a great job so far, building into a few of these big items that are going to enable them to just feel so strong going into these later engagements as well. Ponlo, he's nearly got the Guardian Greaves for himself as well, so even if Storm Spirit jumps onto him with the Bloodthorn, he's got an additional save for himself, so it really just makes life a whole lot more difficult for Xnova, who I don't think he was lucky enough to get the Philosopher's Stone either, so it's going to be quite a long time until he's able to get into the Aghanim Scepter for himself.
pipe dream there. Running around with like 5 sentries and 3 observer wards. And try and find as much vision as you possibly can. A bit of a wait for the Roshan as well. Still a minute and a half to go. It could feasibly have spawned now though, so team is probably going to think about setting up for it and prepare themselves, as the big man could be in that bottom right corner of the map as it does shift to daytime now. I'm kind of expecting G2.iG to smoke. And JT is going to come across and rejoin the rest of his team now, as they do hold their Ancients high ground for now. And not making a move.
Got these BKBs now. I feel like this is a big strength moment for Team Zero, right? Like, prior, if you were able to find that Blink Static Storm onto the Weaver, onto the Earth Spirit, onto the Pangolier, that was obviously going to be huge for them. But now, only Pangolier is the right target to go for. Everyone else is going to be able to have Pipe, Hand of God, Guardian Greaves coming through. Ponley's even got the Paladin Sword on top of everything else, and they've got this vision advantage.
Oh,
full on wraparound though.
Be a close one. The smoke.
Love the backline.
JT nearly steps into line there, where it could have been broken by.
Did they see?
Team Zero.
JT devoured a creep. I want to see if they knew that that one was going on. To be able to see, and surprisingly enough, they didn't place down wards on this high ground. They've got a Centaur Courser here, though, which will reveal the positioning if they stay inside the general vicinity. It hasn't stepped out, though. It's in that weird little nook where you are invisible from the outside, but can still see to the inside. But neither team really knows exactly where the other one is just yet.
I think Ponlo was pinging there. I don't know if he saw X-Nova place that Observer Ward because of his creep, but now they will for sure see Monet show on that wave down bottom. Just trying to cut it as the Radiant Wave is nearly meeting the tier 3 down in that bottom lane.
How far away is he? 800 from the Satanic. He wants to have that secondary dispel for the Overgrowth. It's going to not be here by the time this team fight breaks out, and they're going for a bit of a wraparound of their own.
Man, this bottom right corner is getting super crowded. Congested area of the map right now as both teams vie for control around the Roche pit. It's begun, though, by Team Zero. They're starting it off here. I mean, IG, they've got high ground vision, but they don't see into the pit.
They know.
They've got to know now with a swarm coming across that Roshan has been attempted. Gleipnir in, the Doom forward. They found the Pango all the way in the back. BKB up for the Weaver now as Monet pops his own as well. Static Storm's down on the Treant. The focus on the Pangolier as well to take down him and the Treant as Beyond is gone. The TP out from one there allows Monet to escape. Turn around on JT, though, will allow Team Zero to get a double kill on Erica. Monet had to TP out just to get the hell away from there, so Roshan now belongs to Team Zero.
I don't think you could have got much of a better initiation, right? Even with the Lotus Orb, they weren't able to pop that on the Pangolier to be able to reflect the Doom back, and just away. And they were able to get the Static Storm onto the Treant Protector, so you actually were able to pop the BKB and commit to that team fight on Monet, but still, they just don't have the damage to be able to get through everything that Ponlo's got, right? The heals, the Greaves, the Pipe aura, all of the aura from the creeps too. It's just way too much at this stage, and well, now they've got that second Aegis to be able to play around with, plus the Roshan's banner as well, who's holding that 70 at the moment. So it's going to enable them to go up onto this high ground in this next little bit, and X-Nova was one of the casualties. He did land a good Static Storm that time around, but again, it's just going to delay that Aghanim Scepter even further. That's the point that you're really hoping for. You don't want to have to be concerned about these BKBs that Team Zero have.
I mean, this Weaver has been given far too much free reign in these fights, and it just doesn't feel like there's a real answer here from G2.iG to deal with him. It's very much kill everyone else and then try and contend with the Weaver afterwards. Now he's got an Aegis, even more difficult to handle.
He's got a Shard as well to be able to play around with, so even more damage coming through from him as well. I think Ponlo got the Tormentor Shard, so even tankier heroes to have to get through with the Ancient Granite Golem picked up. Additional 17% bonus HP for all of these guys.
Can someone pick up that occult bracelet, please? It's been there for like 3 or 4 minutes, just sitting there in the lane. Ponlo's pinged it out. He's like, look, there's a neutral item on the flag. Yeah, just get it. Put it on courier. Put it back in base, where it belongs.
X-Nova.
He's dead.
You are dead, my man. Probably be heavy for this. Gets me hit. Yep.
Yeah, what can you do? His webcam is dark. He's sitting in the shadows. Goes into
despair.
Goes to the astral plane.
The Shadow Realm. Are they going to try and get a little cheeky here on Team Zero? You know, we've seen time and time again, you know, influences on games of perhaps overextending just that little bit further. You can see how mindful Monet is of, you know, are they going to come and gank here? They've got the Aegis, they've got the outnumber as well, but he will secure the Wisdom Rune for himself, bringing himself closer to that level 25. A little bit less cooldown on the flak cannons. And there's just... I know you said before that, like, they're not in a rush on G2.iG. Kind of feels like they are at this point now, right? Because you got to find a way to be able to address this Weaver that's just ballooning completely out of control. He's got a Lincoln Sphere as well, right? So how are you actually going to be able to take care of Erica? You might be able to kill him once, but he's got the Aegis for the next 2 and a bit minutes.
That's what I'm saying, right? It just feels like they have to kill everyone else, ignore the Weaver, but then you're ignoring a Weaver who is doing, you know, 2,000 damage a second. Absolutely ridiculous numbers being put up by Erica right now as he steps up onto the high ground, destroying your tier 3. What are you going to do about this? You move in with the side device, trying to get on him with the control, but the BKB's out, and Erica can turn onto Monet. The right-click physical damage is good, but not enough to finish him off. They'll go into the Storm instead. Now, MTS is dead without buyback. 80 seconds on the timer there, as Team Zero in Game 3 looking to convert this Aegis, convert this lead into a victory in the series.
Bro, they're just getting more and more. They've got the Aghanim Scepter now as well on the Pango. You've got a Blink Dagger coming out for the Tree Protector, and Monet popped his BKB in that previous game.
In they go. They're on the Weaver, trying to kill him off the first time. That's Aegis down, but you use Static Storm, you use Doom BKB. Now 7, he can go into the Magnetize, a pretty big one as well. The Pango will shield crash and swashbuckle into the backlines there as I turn into Sean Connery apparently somehow as Baboka does get demolished deep in his base, dead but with buyback. Will return to the battlefield. X-Nova's dying in the freaking fountain, nearly dropping to that Magnetize down to like 20 health. And back onto the buildings they go. Focus the objectives, kill the tier 3, open up the barracks as JT goes back in on the Weaver. Is he doomed up? He's got out of there with the Shikuchi though, with 7E back in again, trying to kick and roll and do the damage to JT. Monet struggling to dish out the damage, but 7E always hit the stone form, rolls away. Weaver's still alive, barely said he's alive through the Doom. My god, G2.iG cannot catch a break. Well, Team Zero just inches away.
So close. I mean, that was like a second kill. You would be able to take away a godlike streak. You would have been able to rectify a little bit of this net worth deficit, and you would have gotten 2 gems. 7E is holding on to 2 at this point in time. So not only are you going to get back a lot more of your map to be able to play around with, but you're also denying them from being able to buy up a new one for the next little bit as well. But they're just able to get away with murder again. This Chan is just providing so much sustain on top of the overgrowth coming through there from ZZQ. It was right after Monet had already popped the Satanic as well, so no way for him to be able to break out of it and do that additional little bit of damage that he needed. So what does he go for now? It feels like Monet feels like he needs to full-on commit to these team fights, right? He's gone for a Butterfly, he's going for a Daedalus, not worried about, you know, not resigning himself, rather, to the fact that, you know what, I am going to get CC'd, so maybe go like, I don't know, Sanjin Yasha to be able to lessen the amount of CC on myself. He's just like, I got to trust myself to be able to make the big plays happen.
Weaver, double damage.
Oof.
Bottled up.
I'm scared.
The rest of them are smoked. If they see a hero, they're going straight for the throat. Monet, you've got to be very careful with your positioning right now.
I honestly feel like you can give up this Rax. Like, you need X-Nova to get Ags. He's off on the map farming at the moment, away from the rest of this. He's the one that they're making space for right now. He's still 750 gold away, and this is where the lack of the Philosopher's Stone can impact.
The Static Slide remnants setting up a great barrier, a wall in front of the barracks. That doesn't do too much. A call down to try and hold them back.
I mean, X-Nova's forced to come back, but he's not finished it up yet. Probably buy at least one of the components, and I think he got a couple of extra tier 4 neutral items for his team, so it wasn't for nothing. But still, it's just such a dangerous position to be in. Probably didn't need to rotate back just yet. And they want it still to be a surprise factor. Could have opted to go for an Ogre Axe purchase just to use some of that unreliable gold, still keep the buyback available for himself, but he wants it to all come out at once. He wants them to not know that it's coming.
Yeah, it's all or nothing for G2.iG now. Down the lane of barracks. Kind of a deliberate move here from Team Zero just to back up, not use that double damage rune to go deep and maybe throw things away. They're being very patient with this move.
Arcane rune though for 7E, potentially. What's he looking to do there? Oh, just gives the gem over to Pondo, who is holding 2 himself. And speaking of some of these levels and the scaling potential, I mean, Weaver still isn't 6-slotted. Like, he has so much more potential to grow, which is the scary part. Not yet level 25. We'll get there for the extra Geminate attack very shortly. It's going to be building into a Satanic, so an additional dispel for him where he doesn't need to worry about using the BKB too early on. I mean, he's even still holding boots. He could look to get rid of those.
Well, we've seen this before. Baboka with a ninja gear, Hoodwink just shifting from ancient camp to ancient camp, trying to farm out on the map and maybe cut waves to hold back this Team Zero horde of heroes and summons that's coming the way of the Dire base. 20 seconds for the next Roche to respawn, and G2.iG, nothing to say, gonna get out of there with a TP. 7E not quite able to sniff that one out.
Just up top here, like, I'm sure nothing to say is saying, give me the farm. Like, I need it. I am so close. He's actually got now the Aghanim Scepter picked up for himself, and he just doesn't want to show at all. The fact that there's still this Observer Ward inside of the G2.iG base, though, means that he might inadvertently walk up under it. They don't know that it's been placed yet. Again, the advantage of playing with these multiple gems. Ooh, yep, underneath the vision, they'll know.
Ping, ping, ping.
They'll know if they're just keeping a constant ping onto him. And now, Roshan for themselves as well. They've just controlled the map so effectively, pushing out multiple sides. I feel like they can go for these quick pickoffs, and well, they've finally been able to at least crawl outside of the base, but it's all for nothing. This is going to be the third Roshan, a refresher as well, being given over for the Pangolier.
Big old victories for Team Zero. Aghanims, Basher, Pangolier, and Treant.
Kind of want to
the
give it
Wisdom
over
Rune.
7E, personally. The refresher, right? Like, refresh all of your Stone Remnants, another Magnetize being able to be used, another BKB, another Blade Mail. It's just about, again, creating that havoc, and I feel like you're going to have a whole lot more difficulty taking out this Earth Spirit relative to the Pangolier.
Who did JT even doom in these fights now?
Good question. Pango. I think it still needs to be. He got a good one off in that previous Roshan fight, but the damage from YSR was just way too much. Nothing to say once again, just trying to shove out these sides. They need that full wombo combo. They need to legitimately find a full team burst to be able to take this one.
Oh, the Weaver's
Initiation.
in.
Look at what?
The Ancient Guardian. The Ancient Guardian with a Daedalus on this Weaver. Absolutely nutty damage output.
Shit.
Destroys the Storm. NTS has to buy back to try and hold on to the remaining parts of the base. 1,764 damage in the blink of an eye.
And they used Doom in that one as well. So you're not going to have that now. And you've still got the second life on the Weaver. They're just going to go back in. Why not? Bottom lane's pushing in. Backdoor's disabled. Maybe they're just going to go for something a little bit greedier. Try and find someone that bought back. Storm would be the perfect target.
Straight on in.
Lotus.
Straight on in. 2 lives on Weaver. Not a care in the world for Erica. And Monet is just being handled here. This Weaver is too much. Cannot be controlled. Cannot be dealt with. Erica is putting up a monstrous performance in this series up against G2.iG. And it doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. Gleipnir and Swarm to control them up as he moves on to the next tier 3. Lincolns and Lotus on him, returning fire with a homing missile. Nothing to say he moves in. They try with a Vortex to drag back, but the damage is overwhelming. Nothing to say he's going to die back here as they do kill the Weaver the first time, but the Gyro is going to fall as well. G2.iG have nothing left in the tank. GG called. Team Zero will be the victors here, upsetting G2.iG, one of the favorites in the Chinese qualifiers, as Team Zero move forward into the upper bracket final.
And they did.